In what seems to be the worst kept secret in tech, OnePlus today announced that it will no longer do business in the United States and Europe. Not overly surprising, kind of like a slow motion car accident. You could see this coming for at least a year now, if not longer. I personally think ever since the OnePlus left T-Mobile carrier stores, that to me was pretty much the end, because that was how you were going to get some sort of traction. Best Buy is nice, and we'll talk about them in a moment because of the company that I think can take the place of OnePlus here in the United States. But it wasn't going to get you all the way home because, like it or not, I know it's tough for enthusiasts to think about and to accept sometimes, but the majority of people, tens of millions of Americans every year, purchase their phones through carriers because of the cheap monthly plans, because of the carrier discounts, because of the outsized trade-in offers. There's so many incentives there to just add 20 or 30 bucks to your monthly bill and get a new device. So that's where OnePlus really could have broken through and did sort of with T-Mobile, but then left the carrier stores. T-Mobile, I think, was the one kind of precipitating that, saying, hey, we're not selling enough of these. It was an awkward time. The 10 Pro was not the time to get into carrier stores. I think if they had done so with the OnePlus 13, the OnePlus 15, really nice device. I haven't had a SIM in it for the past few days, but I powered it back up when we got the news that it was coming to an end for OnePlus here in the United States. And boy, there's a lot to like about this phone. I reviewed it earlier on the channel. The display is gorgeous. The battery is phenomenal. The first flagship smartphone I've used that you can easily make it through 3 days on a single charge. You got that silicon carbon battery tech in there. You've got the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, 16 gigs RAM, all the power and performance that you'd want. And given the way pricing's gone in 2026, at a pretty reasonable price for a phone that came out late last year. So sad to see OnePlus go. I'm not going to do a full post-mortem on the whole history of OnePlus, but it is sad to see another competitor go the way of Sony and LG, HTC, all those companies that were Android competitors from yesteryear who just couldn't make it happen up against Samsung and Google for whatever reason. Sure, I'm sure component pricing didn't help any sales, I'm sure. Europe was a bit more surprising, I thought, because the culture's slightly different in Europe. There are more people buying their phones unlocked. I thought OnePlus did better in Europe. I think Oppo's still going to be in Europe, so maybe that's the deal there. They don't want to compete against each other. OnePlus retreats. They focus the resources. They instead of releasing two models that are essentially the same, they release one and then do it that way. That might be something that they look at. Whatever it happens to be, the OnePlus that we know and love, at least here in North America, is gone, even if they're still in China and India and a couple other emerging markets. Now, you still have sales, you still have support, you still have after-sales support, you still have software support. What that's going to look like is very different from what you're used to. Oxygen OS has taken some great strides. I still think we're going to get Oxygen OS, at least one more version probably of Oxygen OS. However, I don't know what it looks like after that. You've seen the company, I think in the announcement they said that ColorOS is coming to your OnePlus phone. And ColorOS and I have not had a wonderful history together. ColorOS, they worked hard to get the integration better to where, yes, I understand there's a lot of the under the hood stuff is the same. There are a lot of ColorOS features in Oxygen OS. There's a lot of overlap there, so it might not be a huge departure for a lot of users, but I don't know if I love that. I don't know if you're going to just get... ColorOS has its quirks. Yes, it's gotten better. I just don't know. I purchased a OnePlus phone. I got comfortable with Oxygen OS. Now you're telling me I'm going to have to live with ColorOS, even if the company throws another couple years of support on there, which I think is the rumor, or at least one of the statements. They may throw some extra support on these devices to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit. I don't know if I love ColorOS on my device. Look, if you're done with OnePlus, if you're disappointed, I personally think picking up a OnePlus 13 or a OnePlus 15 on a really good deal will probably be okay, especially if you want something different. You're completely done with Samsung. You don't care about Google. You can still buy one of these phones. I think it'd be fantastic, especially for the next few years. This is just a really great experience, and it is sad to see. I don't like what they did with the design. I thought they were onto something with the OnePlus 13 design. So when they kind of went back to this generic, hey, generic smartphone, flagship design, even though I do like this sandblasted colorway here, I didn't love it. I thought they had something unique with the OnePlus 13. I would have loved to have seen another version of that, especially with the 2D glass, the thinner frame, the eco leather back. That was a really nice phone. But this is a great flagship phone, and you're going to be happy there. However, if you're completely done, it seems like the company that's going to take OnePlus's place, and I think they literally did even on Best Buy store shelves, nothing. You're going to be, nothing has its own little quirks. Hand on heart, if I had to choose, I'm probably choosing Nothing OS over Oxygen OS and certainly over ColorOS. I understand they had some marketing problems. I understand Nothing has not been perfect. And the devices sometimes leave a little bit to be desired. But I think if you want a unique design, a really solid software experience that's user-friendly. Nothing does a great job explaining its patch notes, what the company did, how they can make the user experience better, really trying to build that ecosystem that was the initial vision. And you're getting Carl Pye, right? There is some DNA crossover there, at least in the heritage of the company. So I do think that Nothing is a decent landing spot. The Nothing 4A Pro is a solid device. The Nothing 4B, now you're going to look at the Nothing Phone 3. There's a lot of things I think coming from Nothing that, especially now with that push into the US market, that should be interesting. But it's going to come back to the OnePlus story, one way or another. Can you get into carrier stores? Can you make a dent in a meaningful way for US consumers? And it was just the story of OnePlus was never able to do that at any sort of scale that made it made these storms, like the current one we're having now with the higher prices and everything, would it make it worth it? It's disappointing because the OnePlus 16, a lot of the rumors and stuff is shaping up to be a really awesome device. I don't even know where that's going to come. I don't even know if it's just going to be India only, China exclusive, whatever it is. They're going to roll some of that tech into Oppo and some of those ideas and some of those Oppo devices. I thought, I could have swore that when this news first broke, because of the way that OnePlus representatives were kind of like, well, no, there was some pushback on it and there was some column inches spent saying whatever. I thought that, okay, it wouldn't make sense to have both companies. So if you were going to come to the US in force, it would make sense to do it with Oppo. More models, resources, and everything else. You could kind of redevelop that, get in a carrier store, get a deal, and you could go make it work that way. So I was holding out for that. It doesn't really appear, at least for the near future, that that's going to be the case. So I think we're just going to have to say goodbye to OnePlus as a whole. Disappointing. I mean, the OnePlus 7, the OnePlus 5, there's so many devices you can point to. OnePlus 1, you have the OnePlus 3 or 2. I forget which one was the turbocharging, really bringing faster charging to the US, showing these companies that you could do it, being that value flagship. OnePlus basically created the mid-range market for phones because you had those devices at like $600 and $700 that were flagship killers, legitimate flagship killers, with the top flagship chipset in them, really doing some excellent things. Yeah, were the cameras lacking? Absolutely. But that was the price that you paid. Was the software lacking at certain points? Absolutely. But that was the price that you paid. And at least gave people a choice. It's like, okay, I'm not going to spend $300 more on whatever Galaxy phone. I'm not going to spend $300 more on whatever Pixel device. I'm going to get all the speed and performance that I need, that raw performance, gaming performance, battery life, out of this phone and spend less. And that differentiation there and giving people that variety was really something special. And that's why it's really sad to see OnePlus go and that we're not going to have that anymore, especially at a time when we're just not seeing anything from Samsung, at least on the non-foldable side. We're seeing Google kind of get through it a little bit, but there is no outside push. So Nothing, Motorola, those are the people who are now going to have to pick up the mantle and try to make something work. But just a sad day for many. Would have loved to have seen OnePlus make a legitimate run in T-Mobile carrier stores. Would have loved to have seen what that looked like into the future with a OnePlus 13 or 15, but was it meant to be? If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have the seamless.